From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your evening update.
Dennis's Heating and Air Conditioning is Northern California's premier heating and air conditioning contractor. From residential housing, large commercial projects, installation to repair, sheet metal fabrication, and everything in between, we are your go-to heating and air conditioning specialist.
Well, if you didn't make it to the rodeo yesterday or won't be able to make it tonight, well, then you are out of luck because the tickets are sold out if you haven't already purchased your tickets for Friday and Saturday. But, double check if you want to. You can go to readingrodeo.com. And if you're heading out to the rodeo this evening, and this is what it's going to look like here for tonight, looks like we're going to drop down probably somewhere in the mid 80s by the time we get into about 8 p.m. And then as we get into around the 9, 10 o'clock hour, we're talking about temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. So of course, those temperatures are starting to drop. Now, I don't expect the temperatures to be quite as warm over the next few days. We saw those very hot temperatures yesterday, close to 100 degrees. Temperatures have dropped. In fact, we take a look at the overall trend moving forward, and we do have a bit of a cooling trend. But highs will be much closer to normal by the middle to the end of next week, with maybe even a chance for a few mountain showers in there by the middle to the end of next week as well. So your neighborhood forecast for tomorrow actually might be a little bit warmer tomorrow than it was today for the valley. But overall, you can see for the mountains, we are expected to see some slightly cooler temperatures. But we're kind of moderating here over the next few days before we see that bigger drop in our temperatures by the time we do get into the middle of next week. But taking a look at Futurecast, still looking at some of the fog along the coast here for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, looks like mainly sunny skies, although again, some low clouds trying to hover around the Eureka area. Otherwise, we're looking at mainly sunny skies over Northern California. Now, as we take you into Saturday morning, once again, we're seeing some of that fog, especially just around Eureka and some of those inland valleys. And then we go into the afternoon, that fog should dissipate, mainly sunny skies for the coast and pretty much all of Northern California. Now, let's take a look at the fire danger out there. We're going to start with the humidity. The humidity is actually getting a little bit lower. But before that happens, we take a look at the overnight. If we have some good recovery, that's usually a good sign. So we're getting some good recovery. We're getting in the 43 to even upwards of 68% relative humidity. That might be a little high for Willows, but you get the idea. We're seeing higher humidity levels. However, the winds pick up out of the north again on Friday. That will allow our humidity levels to drop down into the single digits and lower teens in many cases for the valley. The recovery overnight for Friday night to Saturday morning, not looking very good. Yes, it gets a little bit better, especially near Chico, but overall, we're still looking at some fairly dry conditions out there. Another dry day for your Saturday. However, you'll notice the humidity not as low to the south. You have a bit of a south wind there, but more of a north wind as you head out towards Redding and even the Red Bluff area. And then, of course, as we go into Saturday afternoon, it starts to get a little bit better. All right, let's take a look at your fire weather risk with the winds. And what this fire weather risk does is it takes a look at the temperature, it takes a look at the humidity, and not to mention the winds as well. So, as we go into today, it wasn't that big of a deal. The fire weather risk wasn't as bad as it was yesterday. It's going to get a little bit worse tomorrow. You see how we're getting those oranges in there? That's kind of in that high category. Especially with those north winds, that's not going to help matters at all. In fact, as we go into your Saturday afternoon, it may get a little bit worse off to the north and west. Notice those winds fairly strong coming in from the northwest. But as I mentioned, remember, we're seeing those winds coming more from the south for places like Chico and even Corning. So the fire risk there won't be quite as bad. All right, so we look at our temperature trend. They're trending downward. We are going to see some little peaks and valleys in there just by a degree or two, but overall, we are on that downward trend for both the valley and not to mention the higher elevations. In fact, we could even drop down to right around or just below normal by the time we do get into the middle and latter part of next week. So the flattening ridge of high pressure is going to move to the west. The heat moves to the west. And in the meantime, this cooler air begins to moderate our temperatures. Our first shot of cooler air coming in late Sunday and into Monday is what's going to help to drop our temperatures down even more. But there is going to be a slight warming after that for Monday, Tuesday. Then by Wednesday, Thursday, this pocket of colder air is even colder. And this is what's going to drop our temperatures down to around or even below normal toward the end of next week. Rain doesn't look like there's a lot of moisture associated with these storms, so we'll have to kind of wait and see at this point, keeping it dry, at least for the extended period for now. But there you can see those wave heights are expected to actually increase a little bit here as we take you into your Friday afternoon, and that is going to pretty much remain status quo going into your Saturday. So we take a look at your marine forecast for Friday. Winds are picking up. They're from the north at about 20 to 30 knots. There is that hazardous seas warning here pretty much through Friday afternoon, and that may actually be extended if those wave heights don't drop. There you can see for tonight, temperatures dropping down into the low 60s for most of us in the valley. And in the mountains, you'll be looking at temperatures in the 40s and 50s, upper 40s to around 50 out along the coast. Looking at your Trinity County neighborhood forecast, yeah, another warm day, upper 80s, maybe some low 90s in there for some of the warmer spots. We take you down into southern Humboldt County for your North Coast neighborhood forecast. Temperatures for the coast, basically 60 degrees, give or take, for the next 7 days. However, the inland areas, that's where we're going to see that downward trend going into the middle and latter part of next week. Taking a look at your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast, 80 in Happy Camp, 78 for Mount Shasta City, but cooler as you head off into those higher elevations. Modoc County, temperatures in the low 70s for your daytime highs. Also seeing that downward trend, mid 60s by next Wednesday and Thursday. Your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast, temperatures generally in the low to mid 80s, although some of the cooler spots like Viola at 74, 75 degrees in Mineral, Fall River Mills about 78. And your Valley neighborhood forecast, brought to you by NorCal Tractor. This is for the south end of the valley here. There you can see about 89 degrees for Biggs and Gridley, 92 degrees for Hamilton City, and 93 degrees in Chico. So a bit of a delta breeze for some, but more of that north wind, keeping things a little bit warmer for the north end of the valley. 93 for Redding, 93 for Red Bluff, and there you can see Palo Cedro, about 93 degrees as well. So looking at your 7-day outlook for Redding, temperatures low 90s today, and tomorrow and Saturday, and then temperatures will be in the mid to upper 80s. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, even cooler by next Wednesday with highs in the low 80s.